Alright, so today we'll be having a session on how to write 10 times faster unit tests using the Apex Mockery. So here's a forward-looking statement. So a quick reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company and the customer should base their customer purchases based on what is currently available. So here's a QR code. Feel free to scan it and provide feedback. Maybe you can earn a coffee. Alright, so I want to take this moment to thank each one of you who has come to Dreamforce and being a part of this incredible community. So now let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Shruti Sridharan, working as an application engineer at Google, and I have been working on the Salesforce platform for close to 8 years now. And this is the 5th time I'm presenting at Dreamforce, and I have been fortunate enough to be presenting every time. And it is always an honor to present to an incredible tribe like this. So thank you all for joining my session, and I'm excited. Let's get started. So that's the agenda for today. First, we will start with what mock and stub framework is and why do we require it. And then I will introduce you to Apex Stub APIs, which was released back in the winter 2017. And then I'll welcome you to the Apex Mockery, which leverages the Salesforce Stub APIs. And then we will dive deeper into the architecture of the Apex Mockery. And then we will see how we can implement it. And finally, I'll be showing you a comparison between before mock and after mock of the unit test with a real-time example. And then we will see how we can test various Apex artifacts like the trigger, batch classes, etc. And then I'll wrap it up by sharing a resource with you, and we will have a Q&A. So this makes a great code. Testing without mocks is like building a house without blueprint. So here, in our case, mocking is the blueprint. And it will help you by controlling the testing specific parts of your code, making it safe and secure. So now, let me introduce what mock and stub framework is. So let's start with mock. And mock is nothing but a pseudo data or a fake data which resembles real-time data during the unit testing. Say for example, you are making HTTP callouts in your unit testing, so you'll be using the HTTP callout mock. So it will be basically making an external service call without actually making one. Then next we have the stub, which is nothing but a pseudo version of your class, which will be returning mocks or response when a method is being called. For example, like if you want to query something from a database, you would basically not query the database, but you would have an in-memory record which you will be querying. So why should we bother to use the mock and stub framework? First point is improved test reliability. So in this case, you will not be relying on any external APIs or external systems, which makes it safe, secure, and fast. Another point is faster test execution. Since you are not relying on any external systems, the test execution becomes faster because you are not actually dealing with any real-time data. And because it's reliable and because it's faster, the deployments are quicker. And you can confidently deploy your code, which makes it quicker. And the next point is enhanced test coverage. So an advantage here that we have is we are not relying on any real-time data. So in this case, to cover the edge cases or every single part of code, we can cover it easily. So this will in turn enhance the test coverage. And then the last point is isolate code under test. So with this, you can basically isolate a code that you want to test and test just like a specific code or a specific logic in your code. Now, let's take a sneak peek into the Apex Stub API. So Apex Stub API is out-of-the-box API which is released by the Salesforce, and it helps you to create your own mocking framework. And the Apex Stub API lets you temporarily control a method's behavior at runtime. This makes it a point that you can test specific regions of your code, making it more secure. Then the next thing is stub objects for a class are created at runtime. So basically you don't have to predefine anything, which makes it more flexible. And this comprises of two parts. One is the system.stubProvider interface and the system.test.createStub method. So the system.stubProvider interface is responsible for letting you temporarily control a method's behavior at runtime. And the system.test.createStub method is responsible for creating stub objects for a class at runtime. And another one thing that we want to notice, the Apex Stub API forms the core of all the mocking frameworks. It's basically like a backbone for your testing framework. Alright, so now let me introduce you to Apex Mockery, which is a simple, lightweight, and easy to read. And this is fully tested, so you can confidently use this in your code. And the Apex Mockery has been inspired by Mockito, Chai.js, Sinon.js, and Jest. So if you have used any of these before, then dealing with Apex Mockery is just a child's play because it's very much similar. And the Apex Mockery provides API to stub, mock, spy, and assert your unit tests. And also it follows the arrange, act, assert pattern, which I'll be explaining in my later slides. And another thing that we might want to notice, the Apex Mockery is built around the Apex Stub API, which I mentioned before was released in the winter 2017. And one good advantage of Apex Mockery is it is authored and maintained by the Salesforce open source. So it basically aligns with the Salesforce practices, and it is open source as well. Alright, now here let's see how we can set up Apex Mockery. So setting up Apex Mockery is pretty simple. There are just 3 simple steps involved. First is you have to visit this GitHub link, and this is open source, so you can take anything and everything that you want from that link. Then the next is you can copy the Force App SRC classes in your SFDC project, which is nothing like but just dropping in few files. And then the final step is deploying this code to your org. And that's it. You're all set. It's pretty simple. Alright, so now let's dive into the architecture of Apex Mockery. So here we have the system.stubProvider interface, which has the handle method call. And this is part of the Salesforce's Stub API. And then we have the class mock, which contains the object stub. And it also has other methods like handle method call, spy on, and get spy. So the get on and get spy methods are just to spy on your unit tests. And another thing that we might want to notice, the class mock implements the system.stubProvider. And then here we have the class method spy. So here we have the method name, parameterized method calls, and several other methods like the has been called with the params, and so on. So these methods are useful for tracking the unit tests. So the method class method spy and the class mock, these two methods are part of the Apex Mockery testing framework, whereas the system.stubProvider is part of the Salesforce's Stub API. Now let's see how we can implement the Apex mockery. So our goal here is to eliminate the database interactions while testing. When I say database interactions, it means the DML operations and the SOQL queries. So for that, we just need to do some minor changes in our code base. So first thing is, we need to create a DAO class to perform all the DMLs and run queries. So DAO class is the class where all your DML operations will be residing. Then next we have the SOQL builder class, and this class is to basically build the SOQL queries. And next is we might have to do some minor changes in our unit tests as well. So first we have to mock DAO and create a stub. Then next is we have to inject the stub via the dependency injection. And then the third step is we have to spy methods on DAO and return the pseudo data, which will help in our testing. And the final step is we have to assert on spy to check whether all our unit tests are returning as expected. Now here's an example of a DAO class. So here on the top we have the getInstance method, which is basically nothing but just to get the instance of the DAO class and generate a stub. Then we have the mockInstant method, which basically is to generate the stub and inject it to our DAO class using the dependency injection. And then we have several other methods such as doInsert, doUpdate, doDelete, and doUpsert, which will be performing the respective DML operations. So these DML methods are accepting the parameters in the form of S-object or an array of S-object. And also we have to provide the schema.SObject type as well to these methods. And these methods return database.saveResult, which will contain the information about our test class, whether it's a success or a failure. Now, the next and the last method is doQuery, which as the name suggests is nothing but to query. So for this method, we supply our SOQL query as a string, and apart from that, we also specify other parameters like our bind variables and also the access level. And this method returns the S-object as an array, which is basically nothing but the result of your SOQL query. Now let's take a look at the SOQL builder class. So here's the SOQL builder class, and this has several methods. First we have the, let me quickly browse through these methods. First we have the select field and the select fields method, which is nothing but to specify all the fields that you want to query in your SOQL query. Then we have the setWhere clause, which is to define a condition to your SOQL query, or basically just specify the where clause. Then we have the set security enforce. This is to set the field level security. And then we have the set for update and set for view, which is responsible for the locking of the records and the view permissions of the record. Then it's the set row limit, which is basically to set a limit for our records. Then the set order clause, which is to set the ordering. Then we have the set group clause, which is basically to set the grouping. And the set bind variable to send the bind variables. And finally the set offset method. Alright, so now let me explain you the use case. So here our use case is to copy the billing address of the account to all the mailing address of all the contacts related to that account. So here I have an account service class, which will be called from the trigger handler. And here I'm specifying the DAO class, and then I have the copy address to contacts method. And here in the first block, you can see that I'm calling this SOQL builder class, which is basically to construct my dynamic SOQL. So I'll be specifying all the fields, the where clause, and also my bind variables. Now here in the second block, you can see that I'm using the instance of the DAO class to perform the do query operation. And for this, I'll be specifying my query that I want to perform, and I'll be specifying the bind variables, and then I'll also be specifying the access level. And this is the last thing that you might want to add to implement the Apex mockery. So once that is done, next is we are performing the DML operation, which is do update. So for this, we are specifying, passing the list of contacts that needs to be updated, and also we are passing the SObject type, which is contact.SObject type. Now you might be wondering why I am passing the SObject type, but hang on tight, I'll explain in my coming slides. So now let's see what are the changes that we need to do in the unit test to implement the Apex mockery. So there are two steps involved. First step is mock DAO and inject stub. So we will be using the mock.for type, which is part of the Apex mockery, to instantiate our DAO class and to generate a stub. Then once that is done, we will be injecting the generated stub to the DAO class using dependency injection, and for this we will be using the mock instance method. And the second step is spy on DAO and return pseudo data. So here what it says is we are basically spying the do query. So it says whenever you find a do query and whenever you find from contact, don't perform a query. Instead, rely on the test variables that I have created, which is the test con1, conrec1 and test conrec2. Now this is to spy on the do update operation. So same, what it says is whenever you find a do update and whenever you find the SObject type as contact.SObject type, what you have to do is just pass on that fake save results. Now let's see about asserting on spy. So expect is one of the method that is provided by Apex mockery, which helps us in spying. So here you can see that I'm asserting the query spy by checking how many times it has been called. And then I'm also checking the other method, which is contact to update spy, by checking on how many times it has been called. So basically the expect method is part of the Apex mockery to help us the assert. Now next is the argument matchers. So let me quickly run through this. So here we have the query matchable as the argument matchers. So this is basically to match the queries or the sockles. Say for example, we have the we are querying contact records and account records. So this makes sure that we have separate queries for each of them. And then here we have the SObject type matchable, which is to match the DML operations, to keep separate about updating the account records or the contact records. So now here's where it gets interesting. So here you can see I have done a comparison before using mock and after using mock. So before, and remember this I did it in a free developer edition org, where my contact record doesn't have any heavy customizations, but just mini flows or triggers. So in such an org, without any heavy customization, my unit test took almost 11 seconds to run. And after I implemented the mock framework, it just ran instantly, which is like 10 times faster. So now you can imagine the speed boost it would do to orgs which have like heavy customizations. Now let's see how we can test various Apex artifacts. So here we can test the triggers by writing the test classes for the handlers and the service class. And also it's a good practice to write test classes for the trigger and also for the UI controllers. We can make sure that we write test classes for all the logic that we have written. And then when it comes to async Apex, we have to make sure that we wrap the business logic in the service class, and so that we can write separate test classes for the service class and keep it safe and secure. So here's the QR code. You can scan it for all the resources. It will have the GitHub links and also the slides that I've been using. All right, so we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you once again for everyone attending this session. Thank you.